level up a few thousand degrees with a Lava Hot podcast and host Joseph Connell Jr. You'll hear from ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things, from tech startup CEOs and marketing professionals to authors, investors, and sales trainers. This show will be packed with information to help you level up in life or business, taking you from on fire up to lava hot. Get ready to burn this down.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lava Hot Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Connell. Today I have with me Mr. Ben Bradshaw, Diamond Leader of Club Life. Ben is an individual that I've actually known for about 10 years or so, somewhere in there. And here's some things I can tell you about Ben. Super down to earth. He's easy to talk to. He's an individual that I know loves helping people. He's amassed a large organization in the company that he's currently in of about 85,000 individuals, and he's an investor. He's adamant about the relationship marketing industry, and to boot, he's also a father and a husband. Ben, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, man, and so great to be on with you. Definitely a great opportunity, and yeah, man, awesome to reconnect. So looking good.
Yes, sir. Well, Ben, I'm going to dive right into this. I mean, the thing that I want to know is, how does an individual cultivate a team of over 85,000 people? And then I'm going to dive in, like, what does the sales look like, things like that. But how do you herd that many cats all at once? So you got so many people that develop and come into an organization. I want to know how you attract talent, and then how you keep it, how you cultivate it, and all that jazz. But we'll start by the attraction part of that first.
Yeah, definitely a loaded question, and I know we only have a limited amount of time, but so for the main, how do you start? Obviously, is just like you would anything. You have to identify the target audience that you want to speak to, through your brand. And for me, it wasn't about getting everyone, but it was about really sorting through the people that I wanted to work with, and that I wanted to become business partners with. Because as you know, herding cats and babysitting adults, I mean, that can be tiresome. That can definitely wear you out, if you will. And, you can get burned out from trying to get people to do things that they don't want to do. So, for me, it was just really about identifying people that wanted more out of life, that, resonated with me, just like I resonated with them. And then, we just kept the main thing, and, mastered the simple activities that yielded the high results.
Right. So for anybody that's listening to the show that's not familiar with this concept of relationship marketing, can you explain and simplify that, demystify it a little bit for us?
Oh, for sure. I related to real estate, right? A mentor of ours, Joe, actually used to say, hey, you can get paid, a bunch of money one time by, selling a house, but the broker of the real estate company gets paid a little broker type override every time that homeowner would open and close the front door. And that's always resonated with me because, obviously, do you want to sell houses? Can you make a bunch of money? For sure. It's dependent upon the economy, right? If you're, if you bought low and you sold high, awesome. Vice versa, not awesome. But as the broker, you get paid just a little override off of every house that's sold. And, same thing within the relationship marketing industry. It allows the average everyday person to plug into a system that duplicates, so where they can get themselves out of the way, use the tools that a company or a leader would put in place, and, leverage their income. Yeah. Because if 100% of your income is 100% of what you do, in today's world, as you know, that can be pretty scary, right? Yeah.
And, what I've always seen, and one thing that I've heard, is put this way, is that we do relationship marketing all day long, I just watched the movie The Adam Project. If you haven't seen it, it's a great movie on Netflix with Ryan Reynolds and some kid, I don't remember his name. But that right there is a good example of it. Here's a movie that I've seen. You should go see it. We do it all day long. Here's a great restaurant we've been to. It's just that word of mouth. But you guys put that inside of a system that can be duplicated. And along the way, you also make revenue. You make an income.
Absolutely.
Yep. So once you start attracting individuals that want to take a look at an opportunity, they come into your ecosystem, if you will. Talk to me about leadership, how you develop individuals into leaders. Let's say they've never been business minded, but they just got curious. and they're interested, like, all right, this guy, he has a wife, kids, he's making money, he's been doing this full time 14 years. What are some of the keys that you try to pass on to those individuals to try to help cultivate some of that skill set to start going after that entrepreneurial spirit?
Sure. Well, the first thing I would say is making a decision, right? Which, a lot of people, they make incisions, if you will, right? And so, because indecision is decision, so they hurt, right? So, I learned a long time ago that failing and succeeding are hard. You just got to pick which one you're going to embrace because, they're both going to be hard. And so, what I look for in someone is that they're coachable, teachable, right? And they have a burning, desire and strong work ethic. And so, things don't happen overnight, right? And, the worst thing someone can do is compare their chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 50, because that comparison right there is the thief of their joy. But I learned a long time ago that if you break down the root of the word decision, it comes from sidere, which is a Latin word that means to cut out, or to kill the alternative, so decide and genocide and homicide, they all sound like the same thing, right? Sidere. And so when you make that decision, you're killing the alternative. The alternative for me would be, living every day being stuck or, not being able to make ends meet, which, side note, ends are not supposed to meet, but these are some of the things growing up that, we're taught, because we're born to succeed, we're taught to fail. And so, and that's a challenge nowadays because we're put into a system, right? Where we're taught to go to school, get good grades, and we trade that teacher in, right, for a boss, right, and that report card for a paycheck. And then we wonder why we're not, thriving. And the challenge is, we were put into a system that was never really meant for us to get ahead. Right. And so, for me, it's like, I don't develop leaders. I identify them when they show up, give them tasks that yield results, but they really give themselves permission to seek higher levels. Yeah. For me, I just put my oxygen mask on first so I could breathe and get money out of the way. And then I help them do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And when you talk about some of the things that you do or your organization does, we're not talking about big, grandiose type of things. We're talking usually very simple, tedious, mundane things day in, day out, over and over, which at the core of it is how successful people operate. Mark Zuckerberg spent hours in a dorm room doing the tedious, mundane code writing over and over and over and over until he cultivated a business out of it. And, for you, I'm curious, like, can you just share some of those little tedious things that compound into a very large result?
Yeah. So, a lot of it is the social media. You'd be naive not to build your business on social media nowadays, right? Like, I literally got my house cleaned, the exterior. The guy finished up today. And, I put a Facebook thread out there in the community, and I had probably 80 or 90 people that commented, right? Recommendations, companies, people inboxing me. And, what stood out the most, the guy I decided to go with actually wasn't the cheapest. He made me laugh. He sent me a message saying, "Hey man, I'm sure I'm probably your, 100th person to shoot you a message, but, I'd love to do it. I'm a small company." And, he resonated with, he made me laugh and he stuck out from everyone else. And, he just, I said, "Look, I'll give you a shot," and came out and did a great quality job. But that's the type of stuff I look for, because everyone out there is trying to, sell you something, whether it's, sell you to give them your time or sell you, a product or whatever it might be. But how do you stand out from the next person, right? It's building your brand. It's showing up. It's being consistent. And, it's really about being who you are and, doing the things you say you're going to do. And because at the end of the day, as you know, Joe, time promotes and exposes all of us, right?
For sure.
And so, when I first got started, a lot of people said, "Oh, what's Ben doing now?" Right? And, they didn't know the backstory. They didn't know, all the challenges, right? They just saw, they saw the public successes, but they didn't know the private failures.
Right.
Right. And so I had to try something different because what I was doing was no longer working in that economy. And the economy's since shifted from then too.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to talk about opportunities in general. Because right now, unless you've been living under a rock, you're familiar with the app TikTok. You scroll that thing, every fifth post is going to be a side hustle, an opportunity, a thing you could do to make extra money, things like that. But I want to know from you as a guy that had, it sounds like you probably started as this being a side hustle and then you went full time and grew a business from there. What do you look for within an opportunity?
Yep. That's a great question. I've been involved in startup companies. I've been involved in 40-year-old companies, right? And so, if I'm looking for a home run, I want to be first, right? I want to be one of the first distributors in a company. The challenge is, as you know, in any business, most companies don't make it to that 3 to 5 year window. And in fact, over 95%, they don't last because if you grow too fast, you can outproduce manufacturing. And as you know, that's a huge challenge, right? If you can't deliver product. Or, as most companies, they run out of money. And so it's very easy to, get excited about something. But at the end of the day, I wanted something that was rock solid, but ground floor, right? You've heard that before as well.
Yep.
And, the reason why I chose the company that we've been with now for almost 10 years is because the company had done over $1 billion plus in the retail environment, right? Not trying to offer people an opportunity, but previous to that, they were in malls and kiosks, competing with high-end department stores. And so,
so your company is a standalone product, that meaning they can go to market however, and they can sell the product, is what you're saying there.
Well, even more so, they transitioned from brick and mortar to click and order is what I said. Mm-hmm. Because, they'd had all that previous success at retail prices. So yes, it stood alone. And then we actually, we purchased other verticals. So, we had that high end Dead Sea skin health product that was competing with Neiman Marcus and Dillard's. Yeah. Not your network marketing, relationship marketing companies. And then we purchased an alkaline based nutrition line that was actually formulated from a holistic healthcare practitioner. So and no knocks on any other companies, but again, our products weren't formulated to compete within the relationship marketing space. Yep. Because as you know, when you're in a startup company, margins are tough. And, if margins are tough, you can't keep robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? Especially when you have to fund a pay plan. And so for, our company, the global infrastructure was already in place all over the world, right? We were just literally looking for the right people to be in business with. And, it was just a transition. And so we've closed down all of our retail operation, almost like an Amazon-like approach where now it's just affiliate marketing. And as you know, that's the future anyway, paying for influencers. So
right. Yeah, no, I like that saying, brick and mortar to click and order. And if you think about it, it was a smart move. I'm not sure when that transition happened, but I was in the mall the other day. It was a ghost town. Yeah. And we can thank Bezos for that. I'm sure that has been a big contributing factor. It's become very easy for us to buy everyday necessities onto, clothing and so on and so forth. My wife, for instance, buys all of her clothes online. She hates going into the store, trying it on. She'll just order it, try it on. What she doesn't like, sends it back. It's just an easy process, but I love that saying, brick and mortar to click and order. Yeah. Yep. So,
yeah, man.
Yep. So, your wife is also, a part of your business. From what I've seen, that's part of the brand, is that you got this husband-wife, dynamic, which is always solid.
Yep. Yeah. We try to, present parents, right? So, we both we grew up and, our parents are hard workers, a teacher, and her dad's a manager at a large, big box store that, does very well. And so they've always worked hard.
Yep.
My parents were entrepreneurs, but small business owners. So they didn't actually own the business owned them, and my mom got sick at an early age, and, so we lost everything. And so, we went from having, where it was a lot of time and zero money, and then zero money and a lot of time, and, vice versa. And, growing up in the Annapolis area, it's very affluent. I knew very few people that had both. And so that's when I looked at this relationship marketing concept, back in the day, if you will. I mean, I just said, man, this could give us both time and money together, which very few opportunities allow for that. I knew it would take work, but I knew we were going to work anyway. So it was like having the right vehicle in which to put that work.
Yep. You probably get this question a lot, and maybe you don't, but in my experience, it's a question that always comes up when you've got, a husband, a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, trying to get the wife or the spouse on the same page. I would imagine it takes the right type of mindset. And I'm sure you probably looked for that mindset within her when, you guys first started dating. But what does that take, to try to make sure that you guys are on the same page when building a business?
Man, that's such a great question. And, because I know that's a big challenge for most, right? I get the question all the time. Hey, can I get back to you? I want to talk to my spouse. And the challenge when you talk to a spouse about something they've never seen is they're formulating their opinion based on stuff they've never seen or heard, right? It's all third party. And, it's like the game telephone, right? Like rarely, if ever, do you get back to the original source with 100% of the information. And so, I remember when I first saw this profession and I went home and I tried to explain it, to my wife, who was then my girlfriend. She just, no chance, right? Shot me down. But I had already, decided that I was going to do it and make it happen because we were just dating at that point. And if we were married, obviously, it would have been more of a topic for conversation. But even then I would have, I would have asked her to, not necessarily support me, but allow me to take a chance, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is most of the time that I see and in this space when people do stuff like that, where they go home or they want to talk to their spouse, is that, they haven't fulfilled previous endeavors in which they said they were going to do something. So this is just another thing. And there's not really a lot of belief in their spouse, unfortunately, right? That they're going to show up and do what they said they were going to do. Yeah. And so I had some of that too, even though Lauren and I were dating at the time. And so I use that as motivation, not to prove her wrong, but to prove me right.
Right.
Because some of the times we're doing it for other people, but we have to do it in spite of them, even though it is for them ultimately as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I want to talk about what an individual gets from these type of opportunities. I'm not just talking about the money that can come from selling products and things like that. For me, and I referenced this, I think, on the first episode with Nathan, that, for me, I took the philosophies, the business principles. I took sales being a center of, how to operate. I took a lot of that positive mindset and then tried to apply it into my everyday life between me and my kids, my wife, the job that I had at that particular time. And for me, I've built and cultivated an entire marketing, career out of it. I've worked with over 500 companies, and in some cases, I'm asked questions that are not even marketing. It's, hey, we have all these calls coming in, but we don't know how to convert those calls. Great. Let me talk to your girls real quick. I'll give them a few ideas on what they can do, a few, objection handling things that they can apply. And it really just comes from that addiction. For me, it became an addiction. I became addicted to personal development. I think the sayings, I OD'd on PD. Yep. And, in your experience, I'm sure that you have seen that same dynamic where individuals come in and that's the part that they really take out of it, is that personal growth. Yep.
Yeah, I tell you, a couple books, that changed my life, is the Cash Flow Quadrant, right? Robert Kiyosaki. I mean,
yeah,
I and I know that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. But man, if I was taught those principles in school, it would have just been game over. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill,
Yep.
How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. And so, I heard a long time ago that money and water are one and the same. They seek their own level, right? And so very rarely, if ever, will someone exceed or their income exceed the person that they are. And so, what I love most about, relationship marketing is that, you become this person. It's almost unstoppable. It's almost like Liam Neeson, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Taken. I've acquired a certain set of skills over a long period of time, right? And so it's funny because that's the truth. And so for me, relationship marketing has become a personal development or personal growth profession, just with a phenomenal compensation plan attached. Because you can put people like you, Joe, and our friend Nathan, and myself, you can put us anywhere and we'll succeed because of, the personal growth and mindset and attitude that we've adopted over time, that it's just a no quit, you're going to find us on the top of the mountain or dead on the side, philosophy and attitude. And so it doesn't matter where you put us, we're going to figure it out because, that's who we've become. And so I pity the person that, doesn't, grow as a person because, man, there's so much out there for the person that is just seeking more.
Yeah. No, for me, one of the philosophies that I took, or one of the, core commitments, if you will, that I took from that life was something very simple to do, 10 pages of a good book a day. I kind of transitioned it over to 10 to 20 minutes of audio book a day, but it's about the same principle. But when you go through something as simple as 10 pages of a book a day of positive, life-changing, transformative books that, change your mindset, that talk to you about money and finances, personal growth, all of those things, it starts to change how you think, how you look at the world. It's so easy, especially nowadays with social media, to get wrapped up into the negativity. One of the first things people do in the morning, they pick up the phone and they're hearing about Ukraine. They're hearing about all the negativity in the world. And it's very easy to start thinking, holy crap, this world is extremely negative. But if you start to embrace a lot of the positive and start putting more of that positive in, you're going to get out that positive side. But hey, before we wrap up the show, I want to talk about your opportunity. I want to know, right now, if anybody's listening, they're looking for an opportunity. They're thinking, you know what, I want to try to make some additional income, or I'm just curious about, what the possibilities are. Share with us, what that opportunity looks like within your organization.
So funny you say that because Lauren and I, we took I'd like to say we retired, right? But, thankfully we were able to put in a duplicatable system because systems are what works, right? It stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money, right? So, we were able to take some time off and just be present parents, do some consulting for other businesses and that we've invested in such. But we jumped back in the trenches about a year ago, because our company actually had launched an entire new vertical, a travel vertical, if you will, but it's so much more than that. So if, it was almost like the perfect storm, right? Because you look at the way the economy is right now and, we're on the brink of some crazy times. As you were saying, right? A lot of people are scrolling on social media and participating in the negative, unfortunately. And they do that in the morning, and then in the evening when their subconscious is open to twice at the most times during those time frames of your day. And then you wonder why, you don't have a good day. It's crazy to me. But Anyway, I digress. So with our company, it's pretty nuts. We launched this travel vertical, because it's almost like revenge travel, if you will, because people have been cooped up for quite some time. And, so we just launched it. And, so when you come on board with us, it's so crazy. We only build 2 teams, which in my opinion is just it's amazing. But it's simple conceptually. And, we have this system in place where it's online. We have an app. So, can you drive across town and sit down with people? Of course, sure. But, this is not our parents or our grandparents' relationship marketing company by any means. You can connect with people in Africa. We just opened up a warehouse. You can connect with people in Europe, Asia, Australia, right? Even we're actually launching, we just launched South America, which is phenomenal. And so we are open globally. And, to have that footprint where you can be first is kind of insane. Yeah. But even more so when you come on board with us, we're actually including in our starter packages to, when you come on as a rep, a 6-day, 5-night all-inclusive for two, literally all-inclusive for two, to one of our 4- or 5-star resorts. Wow. That's within our, Club Life, network. So pretty awesome. If you went to Expedia or Booking.com and looked at those resorts, you're looking at like $2,000 or $3,000 for those trips.
Wow.
And, with us, I mean, it's literally, it's a fraction. I mean, it's almost not even believable. But it is. It's happening.
Very cool. So as we land the plane, I always like to give each guest the opportunity to just share, for anybody who wants to reach out, try to take a look and schedule a call for, we'll call it an opportunity meeting. They want to try to get more information. Where would you like them to go to try to connect with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, so we have a Facebook page for sure. Obviously, my personal, so you can definitely look on there. It's under Benjamin Bradshaw, friend of Joe's online as well. But or you can, Facebook.com/Honey Badger LFG is my handle. Instagram, same thing. But my cell phone direct is 443-871-2228. And let's just have a discovery call, if you will. See if we're a good fit. We could be, we could not, but either way, we'll get in where we fit in and see what happens. And yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Well, for those listening, as I mentioned, he's very easy to talk to. Definitely a likable guy. Ben, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and just drop a little knowledge on us. And, I'll let you get to it. And for those that are listening, in the show notes when this publishes, I'll definitely have all of his info there. That way you can find him there as well. All right. Ben.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, my man.
Yes, sir.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Lava Hot Podcast with Joseph Connell Jr. Do you want to level up your business in 2022? Then visit us at golavahot.com for a free marketing analysis.
You already know. Let's go.